Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is your host Thomas Tyree from On the Hot Podcast. Today, I have some bonus content for you guys. The bonus content we'll be covering today will be in the sport of football inside of college football. And today, I'll be sharing my Michigan Wolverines and Washington Huskies game summary of the national championship game that we seen take place last night in college football. So, the college football season is officially in the books. We have seen a new college football champion officially be crowned. We've seen the Michigan Wolverines defeat the Washington Huskies last night 34-13 to win their first national championship since 1997. So it's been a long time coming from the Michigan Wolverines winning a national championship once again in the college football. It's been a long time coming, and it's been well deserved by the Michigan Wolverines. And we saw the Michigan Wolverines last night in this game against the Washington Huskies. They proved that they have been the best team in college football all year long. They went 15-0 this season. They are now the reigning defending national champions. They beat Penn State on the road. They picked up a significant win against Ohio State. They defeated Alabama last week in the Rose Bowl, and then they just defeated Washington in the national championship in dominating fashion to prove that they are a force to be reckoned with, and they are the best team in the country as your new national champions in college football. And everything I predicted happened for my game game prediction with Michigan and Washington. I said that Michigan's pass rush would make a significant splash in this game, going after Michael Penix Jr. They made him very uncomfortable in the pocket yesterday. He threw 2 interceptions. And I said that Michigan's secondary would match up well against Washington's receiving core. Washington's receiving core is the best in the country. And Michigan's secondary was second in the pass, defending the pass. And they did pretty well against Washington's offense with Michael Penix Jr. in their receiving core. It was a great overall game plan by Jim Harbaugh and company. Michigan played absolutely incredible. They ran the ball down the throats of Michigan as well. They had a total of 303 rushing yards on the ground. They played very significant. Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards played very well in the backfield last night for the Michigan Wolverines. Overall, great offensive and defensive game plan for last night's game in their victory against the Washington Huskies. But with that being said, I got to give credit where it's due. Washington had one hell of a season this year. They finished as the final Pac-12 champions in Pac-12 history. As you guys know that follow college football, the conference will be no longer available in college football. And it's sad to say that, but Washington had one heck of a season. They were the final Pac-12 champions in college football. They went 14-1 on the season. They are the Sugar Bowl champions when they defeated Texas to punch their ticket to the national championship. Michael Penix Jr., as you guys know, if you follow the podcast, I have always been very high on this guy. This man has played incredible, played at a Heisman level, was a Heisman runner-up this year. His story, his great college story was incredible. For his days with Indiana being injured and not really know what the future holds for him, to him transferring to Washington and becoming one of the best prospects heading into this upcoming NFL draft and one of the best quarterbacks in the country. His story has been absolutely remarkable. I'm wishing him nothing but the best when he goes to the NFL because I know how special of a player he has the capability to be. His ceiling is that high. But great overall story for Washington. They have nothing to be ashamed of. They just played a better team last night, and the outcome of that game showed, and the scoreboard showed it. So hats off to them for an incredible season, and we'll see what's next for them in the college football world for next college football season. But with that being said, Michigan has now won, like I just touched up on, they won their first national title since 1997. What is next for Jim Harbaugh? So for Jim Harbaugh, I think there's only one thing left to be said. I think it's time for Jim Harbaugh to go back to the NFL. The mission is accomplished. He did everything he needed to accomplish being a part of the program, the Michigan Wolverines. He beat Ohio State 3 times in a row. He won a Big Ten title. He won a national title with Michigan. It's time to move on from the college football world and go back to the NFL. He has unfinished business in the National Football League. He was one hell of a coach in the National Football League. Led the San Francisco 49ers to 3 separate NFC championships years ago. Won an NFC title and made a Super Bowl appearance with the San Francisco 49ers. He has unfinished business left in the NFL, and I think he needs to attend to that. it's time to leave Michigan and go back to the NFL, because there's some head coaching spots for him and great opportunities there in the NFL. There's the Chargers spot where you can head coach Justin Herbert in the Los Angeles Chargers. There's the Chicago Bears. We could potentially have Caleb Williams as a franchise quarterback, or Justin Fields in Chicago. You can have you coach the Dallas Cowboys if Jerry Jones decides to move off of Mike McCarthy, depending on how deep they go in the playoffs. You have the Las Vegas Raiders. Who doesn't want to coach in Vegas? So the opportunities present itself for Jim Harbaugh to go back to the NFL. He has unfinished business there, and he's done it all with Michigan. I don't see a reason for him to go back to college football when he can go back to coaching up against Sean McVay, go back to coaching up against Andy Reid, the best of the best in the National Football League. Your brother John Harbaugh is still there. I think it's time for Jim to chase a Super Bowl the way he just chased a national championship. I think he's done it all. And I think the way how that game ended last night, the celebration I watched, John Harbaugh being on the field, his family being on the field with him, and him celebrating with the whole entire program last night on that turf, and him holding the national championship really was a Cinderella story that wrote its final chapter. I really don't think it's necessary for him to go back. What does he have left to prove? He beat Nick Saban when they had the same amount of level competition, when they were on the same level field in terms of talent. He beat Nick Saban when they had the talent. When they had the same talent as Ohio State, they beat them 3 times in a row. He proved that he's been the best Big Ten coach over the last several years in college football. He just won a national championship, something he's never done in his illustrious coaching career. It's time to go back to the NFL. And those are my thoughts on Jim Harbaugh potentially going back to the NFL. Those are my thoughts on Michigan defeating Washington in the national championship. That is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is your host, Thomas Tyree, signing off. And I'll see you guys on next week's episode.